everyone's probably been to at least some kind of convention, and if you haven't, then you should. But imagine having a convention where you have icons like Stan Lee, Elvira as owners, co-owners. I mean, and that's what we're talking about here today on GPS. I'm Jay LaRock, and we're talking about Comikaze, which is Comikaze that's coming October 30th to November 1st. And we're here with Regina Carpinelli, and thanks for coming on the show, first of all, talking to us today.
Well, thank you so much for having us, but I got to correct you because our name is Stan Lee's Comikaze.
Oh, I'm sorry, what did I say?
You said Comikaze, which is fine. We still I just like to bust everyone's chops.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I've made that mistake a lot. There's going to be a whole blooper reel where I just, make all these mistakes over and over again, and that's just going to be my thing, my stick, where I just make a whole bunch of mistakes.
No worries.
But what I wanted to talk about with you specifically is that a lot of times when people go to these conventions, they immediately just start looking at like who's going to be on the list. They want to see the stars, and that's fine. But a lot of people don't realize how much work goes into it. They think, you just put up a table, you call some stars, and people just show up, and that's it. And especially on the internet, people just think that that's it. Even with like a web series, they think, oh, you just sit in front of a camera. And obviously, you being the founder, you realize that it's not that easy. There's a lot of work going into it. Can you I guess we got to start with like the beginning. Can you tell me like the beginnings of just building something, like even in the planning stages?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I guess though, maybe we should talk about, because Comikaze or Stan Lee's Comikaze were really unique. I don't know if you know the backstory, but we started it. We had the idea for it in 2010, and we've been around for 5 years. This is our 5th Comikaze. But in 2010, my brothers and I used to go to San Diego Comic-Con like since the 90s, like pretty much 20 years of going to San Diego. And one year we couldn't get in 2010. And we were like, we're going to make our own convention, but we don't know what we're doing, and we don't know anybody, but we're going to make it. And we like scraped together some money, and like $10,000, which wasn't enough to put on a convention. But we convinced the convention center to let us do a convention. And at that point, we like harassed Stan Lee and Elvira's managers because we were like, this is going to be this cool pop culture convention, and we have to have cool people. And the coolest to us were Stan Lee and Elvira. And we approached we found their contact, and we were like, come on, you guys got to do our show. Let them do our show. And they're like, no, we don't do shows in LA, because I guess no convention ever did well in Los Angeles. And we didn't know that. And when we found out, we didn't care. We were still going to do this thing. And it was just this passion project. And it got to the point where Stan and Elvira's managers were either going to give me a restraining order, or they were going to say yes. So thankfully they said yes. So we go into, and we're just like promoting and getting vendors and getting guests, and like every time we sold a booth, it was like, okay, we could buy flyers to like flyer at the school or whatever. And the day of the show happens, and we were expecting about 2,000 people, but we ended up getting over 30,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah, and like I was pulling my mom and my dad to like sell tickets and go crazy and like work, and friends like, I'm sorry you came to have fun, but you got to help us. And like, the convention itself, we were in the basement of the LA Convention Center, put us in the basement. And we looked like that movie District 9. It was crazy. but it was like everything went wrong, but everything went right. It was like really awesome chaos. And a lot of people have fun. And like literally a week after the show, and again, we like these shows cost like hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars to put on, and here we were with like literally only 10 grand and like a prayer, but we had the power of the hustle, and we were just fans, and so it went right. But Stan calls us, and I'm like, oh, and they're like, I want to be part of Comikaze, and we're like, oh, as a guest next year, that would be great. It was so awesome having you. No, I want to own it with you, and I'm like, okay. That's totally cool, and I'm totally fine with that. So we became partners with Stan and his company, POW Entertainment, and then the name change. He asked that we change the name to Stan Lee's Comikaze. And then right after that, then Elvira said, I want to do the same thing. And they were both like, because this was the craziest. We've been to so many conventions for years, and big ones. but there's something really special about this, and what you guys did, and we see something in it, and we want to be a part of it. So it was, for me as a fan, that they were literally the two guests that I just wanted to get their autographs and meet, and they were the coolest people in the world to me. To then becoming partners, it was kind of like the ultimate fan dream come true. And, you know, shortly after that, you know, we partnered with the world's largest trade show company, UBM Avenstar. And, you know, the rest is history. So, you know, I think it's important, like, the real beginnings of Comikaze was literally 3 kids in their 20s that were just fans and couldn't get into San Diego Comic-Con and wanted a cool show in LA that was champagne show with beer price and meet Stanley and Elvira. And that's what happens when you follow your dreams and you work really hard. It was, you know, so I like telling that story. But to answer your question about putting the convention on, it takes us a year to plan each Comikaze, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger. So sorry, I kind of took over on that question, but I felt it was important.
I think that's great, because I think that, you know, it's the details that is key. Because I think what happens is a lot of people have the idea and they think that, okay, if I can just reach the people. And the problem is that in the planning stages, that's where people will start to falter, where they think, okay, if I get the star, profit. And it's not that easy. So
Yeah.
is that the point where, you know, you were saying, like, you know, kids in their 20s? At what point do you say to yourself, okay, I'm already in LA and you have stars? And that could be the hardest part, because if you're already there, you're thinking, man, the stars are just within reach. But at the same time, there's so much competition. Where do you marriage those two together, where you're saying, I'm so close yet so far? How do I compete? How do I make my mark where I can even get to a Stanley, where I can get to Elvira, to make my mark, to bring those two together, where they're going to be like, well, why do I even need to talk to this 20-year-old kids when I can go to over here? Or why can't just do it myself? Why do I even need you?
I know, it's a good question. I mean, it was really, for us at that point, it was like, we're different. And they're like, no, there's been shows. And like, literally, there were shows over in LA that had established convention companies that had money and knew what they were doing. And you could totally have all the celebrities and nobody will show up. So it's, you know, the background, our parents were nightclub promoters, and me and my brothers, we also had bands. So the first Comikaze, and then we continue it. We promote Comikaze like a nightclub and like a party, and it has a total party vibe. I don't know if you've been, but it's, you know, it's not just about it. You always have to have, you know, it's great having cool guests, but, you know, I just read this article and it said 80% of first year conventions fail, which is a really high percentage. So it was like a miracle that we survived, but it's also about getting the people there. Like, you have to promote. And if you don't have a budget, like we didn't even have a budget the very first year. It was like, we built our social media from the ground up, and we're really proud of it. And, but at the time, you know, from 0 followers, but we were just always tweeting at everyone, tweeting at blogs, tweeting at talking and making friends with everyone, and to get all the people out there. And then everything else kind of fell into place. But, you know, it is hard in LA because also we live in a place where there's celebrities everywhere, and it's like, you can go to the gas. I was at the gas station yesterday and I saw Jake Gyllenhaal.
Nice.
And it was just like the random gas station, and like, you know, it's like kind of the ghetto, kind of not the ghetto. And it's like, it doesn't matter where you are, you can see somebody. Or like, I was like 3 weeks ago, I was driving and George R.R. Martin was in the car next to me at the stoplight. Like, you know, you see people everywhere. So, so it is a little strange in LA. And I think with us, we always like to have guests that have weird cult followings now, going into our 5th year, and that are like, or more iconic status. So yeah, it's, sorry, I lost my train of thought. It's too early. My brain is fried. No, it's always about having that balance in, and you want to find people that people want to see. And it's not always necessarily the most popular big movie star that people want to see, but maybe there's somebody like like a Casper Van Dien, because Starship Troopers has such a cult following that makes people go wild, you know. So we're always looking for, we're trying to find always this perfect balance. It's actually a skill that we've developed to make this balance of having really cool celebrities that range from all aspects.
Yeah, that's one of the things that was interesting for me, because here in Miami we have SuperCon, and I thought it was strange because when I went to SuperCon a couple of times, there were some celebrities here where they would bring them down, and there'd be some comic book celebrities where you'd go to their table, and there'd be some people who were even in movies, and you'd look at some people in line, and there'd be like, okay, a halfway decent line for this celebrity that you would know, and next thing you know, there'd be a line going around the corner, and you're like, holy cow! And I'd look at that person, I'm like, I don't recognize that person. And you'd look at, and it'd be this weird, obscure comic book, and I'm like, I don't know that comic book, but apparently, hundreds of people came to see this person. And you have to realize, just because I don't know that person, that doesn't mean that hundreds of people didn't come out to see this person and they have this following. So I assume that you have a team that has to make sure that you know these people to bring in, that you can get a whole gambit of people that will fill up the convention with people that you want to see, like you were saying.
Yeah, we do, and like that team is the person that is me. I am
Oh,
the team.
that's not a team, it's you.
But also the one thing that we do that's really different, because when we started, like I said, we didn't really know what we were doing, but we knew what we liked, and and part of it, always continuing in that tradition, is really, we're always really vocal about asking our fans, who do you want to see at the show, and we'll try our best to make it happen. And so I have, like, I'm all about the weird, obscure stuff as it is. And I'm constantly researching, and I'm like a fan of so many things. But we're always asking our fans too, like, who do you want to see? And we'll like base it off of that, and then really try to convince that person to come. And it's not always easy to get people to come to your show. It takes a lot of work. And it's not like you just pick up the phone and say, hey, you got to like find the manager, then make sure you call them, and hopefully it's like the right day, and get at them a weird angle, and like be like, yeah, this is really good, come and meet all the fans, and we'll send a car for you. There's a lot to it to get the person there after that. There's a lot of steps. So, but yes, that's basically, I'm always like watching every weird thing and following weird trends to see who's the cool, obscure people, what's cool, what do our fans want to see, all of that, and then trying to make those dreams come true for everybody.
What was it like when you guys won the Con of the Year award?
Oh my God, that was so amazing. It was humbling, and it was like a proud and humble moment at the same time. I don't know if you can be proud and humble at the same time, but we were. Because like here we just finished our 4th year, and like we were up against these conventions that had been around, like San Diego or New York or Dragon Con, and we beat these other conventions. And we've always been like this kind of this punk rock vibe, scrappy convention, DIY convention. Even though Stanley and Elvira own it, we've always maintained this attitude, like we're really down to earth. So that we won it. It was amazing. Like the fans, like, and it was close. It was like us or Walker Stalker, and it was like down to the wire, the last minute people were voting, and we won. And it was a beautiful feeling. It's really proud to be, dude, we're Con of the Year. So, all the hard work is paying off, with that award.
So do you have any like, funny or weird stories just dealing with like either people or dealing with the convention that you can tell us that, won't get you in trouble?
Yeah, I think I got some. I get some strange, being that we're owned by Stan, and like last year we had over 63,000 people. There's definitely like, and we deal with so many different people. There's really strange requests. I've had mail sent to me that was art that was made out of somebody's hair. We've had death threats.
Why? Because Because you didn't get a guest or something?
Something like, yeah, stuff like that. You know, we had a TV show too on Sci-Fi called Fangasm.
My name is Regina. I'm the CEO and founder of Stanley's Comikaze, one of the world's largest fan conventions. We are for the fans, by the fans. And this year, we're expecting over 70,000 attendees. So since we are growing at warp speed, I recruited 7 interns to come help me out this summer.
And when, you know, when you're on TV, like, I didn't believe it that weird stuff happens, but then it happened. So, you know, we get weird, really strange requests. And then it's never happened with any of our guests, but another convention told me a story about a certain celebrity, about how they, you know, all the conventions, we have a green room because we got to feed the talent. And so this other convention that was in a whole other state, they told me the story where they had this really major sci-fi star, and they're at the green room and they're serving his lunch, and he goes, "I don't want this. I want a steak from this restaurant that's 45 minutes away," and like literally like threw the food on the floor, and then and like made this poor convention like send some kid out and go pick up the steak, and then the kid comes back like an hour later and the steak's cold, and he like throws that on the floor. It's cold.
Oh, man.
So I mean, I'll never name names, but I've seen some weird stuff. I've heard some weird stuff. You get some pretty odd requests. It's kind of like I want a brandy glass with full of green M&Ms. You know, things like that. I think that is true. So, but for the most part, everyone's really cool and fun. But you know, there's strange things. Strange things are afoot at the Circle K when you have like over 63,000 people. And this year we're expecting over 75,000 people, so I'm sure there'll be some more stories and funny things. You know. I still think for me too. I think it's still funny and cool at the same time. Like I walk into the bathroom and there'll be like a hot glue gun plugged into the bathroom of the convention center because a cosplayer is like fixing their costume, you know.
Well, that's what's got to be strange, because now, I mean, you have such a changing, demographic of stars, and you have a changing dynamic of stars. Because back in the day, it would be, okay, you know that your stars are coming either from comic books or coming from TV or coming from film.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can have a YouTube star. So someone who literally a month ago was just a regular Joe on the street is a star. And I think that, you know, yes, obviously you can have a regular celebrity who came up maybe through television or movies be a certain way, or not even be I don't know if trained or however you want to say, mature in a way and they can still act up, like maybe even the steak guy. But you also can have these people who are YouTube stars that can act in a certain way. So does that make it more difficult that you could have these YouTube celebrities or people like that where you have to have talent management be different because you're dealing with so many different type of stars from so many different mediums?
You know, yes and no. Like for us, we just have really good contracts. So as long as we spell out like, hey, you need this, or like what they want, and then of course we go like, okay, no, we're not. You can't bring 20 goats into the convention center, or like, no, we're not getting you a helicopter. But you know, as long as everything's spelled out, we're fine with making some requests and doing things. But obviously, there's stuff that we won't do. But you know, you see, it's what's really interesting is like the bigger names that are celebrities, they have the least asks. It's always the newer people, or maybe the people that don't have as big, as recognizable, that have like the stranger requests for some reason. That is something that I have noticed. But I mean, it's all good. Like, bottom line is, it comes down to you come to the show and you're there for your fans to meet, and you make our fans happy because they want to meet you. And as long as that works out, we're cool with it. And we shy away from, you know, because all the conventions, we all talk amongst ourselves. Like, you know, like people don't know this, but, you know, most of the conventions we're friends. And we go like, hey, what do you think about this person or this person? What I heard something like this happen. And so we're like, you know, we get a good sense of like the people who are, because there's some celebrities are just really mean to their fans, and we don't ever want that at our show. Like, we're so against that. So we'll stay away from people that we hear are rude to fans, you know, because we want all of our, because like for us, we're putting this on for the fans, and we want the fans to have the best experience possible. So we only want the sweethearts of the industry there to meet and be with our fans, you know?
And definitely overall, it's the fans that encompass so much of these conventions. I mean, you see them walking around in cosplay. I mean, yeah, you may have every once in a while a little unruly fan, but when you see the pictures, it makes people want to come to these conventions just as much as, seeing the vendors and seeing the celebrities, because it's like, when I see these pictures, when I see the videos and stuff like that, it's like, wow, these people are having fun. And as much as sometimes you might see gamers or even comic book fans fight amongst themselves, when I go to these conventions, it's all good. Regardless of some guy dressing up in a giant Iron Man suit, someone dressing up as a Catwoman, it's great to have that group dynamic. Everyone's together as one, and it's really great. And seeing all that together must make you feel good, especially after 5 years having people come and more. And like you said, you're gonna have even a bigger group of fans this year.
Oh no, it's so amazing looking at the pictures and seeing like the people's outfits or just that they come and their faces, and like it's infectious. Like I literally challenge anybody that like there's people that, I'm not a nerd, I wouldn't go to that. It's like, no. First of all, you go and I don't care. You have to be like a total asshole not to have fun at a convention. I'm not just saying my convention, like any convention.
Right.
Unless it was like a bad convention. But if any good convention you walk into, I don't care who you are, there's going to be something that you like, and it's going to be fun because you feel that energy of all these people. They're there because they love the geek world. And they're with their fellow geeks and everyone's having fun. And it's like, if you walk into a room and everyone's having a good time, you're going to have a good time too. And it's that energy. It's funny. It's just like a live energy. And that's why we try to do a lot of things different to keep the energy going. And one of the things is on our main floor, we have a 30-foot stage with a 15-foot Jumbotron where we put all of our like main key panels. So you'll see like this coming show, you'll see Stan Lee and Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld and Mark Silvestri, who, if you don't know who they are, Stan Lee made Spider-Man, Mark Silvestri made Spawn, Jim Lee's like the main dude over at DC and does Batman, Rob Liefeld created Deadpool, Mark Silvestri created Witchblade and is also a big guy over at Marvel and does DC and Marvel. So Legends of Comics, but you'll see like there'll be like 30,000 people in front of the stage, and the floor just like stops and everyone's like eyes, and just that energy. It's really amazing, and it's so cool to see the fans, how happy they are. And at this point, like we'll get people come up to me and they'll be like, I was at the first show, and this is so amazing. I've been bringing my kids, and one guy even. Last year, he came and then he told me that he proposed he met his girlfriend in 2011 at Comikaze, and then in 2014 he proposed to her at Comikaze.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so it's like it's this really cool thing, and seeing like even families with their kids and seeing the kids growing up and being at the show and new families coming in. It's really amazing to see. It's like people are finding their tribe at Comikaze and these pop culture events. So it's a really cool thing, and we support it, and we're all about everyone having a good time. Like that's the bottom line. It's about having a good time.
So October 30th through November 1st, can you tell me a little bit about what fans can expect for this year?
We literally have something for everybody. Especially if you are a comic book fan or you are a sci-fi fan, there's something for you. I know I just mentioned we have a great lineup of comic people. Like I said, Stanley owns the show, of course, but he'll be signing all weekend. But again, Todd Humberto Ramos, Brian Lee O'Malley, Grant Morrison, plus like about 200 other amazing published artists and writers from comics, and plus all of our other great vendors and artists that come as well. And then for other media guests, Carrie Fisher's coming, and nice. I hear she has a movie coming out in December. You might have heard of it. It's called Star Wars: The Force Awakens. So we're really honored and stoked to have Carrie Fisher coming. That one, going back to getting the guests, I've been working on Carrie Fisher to come to Comikaze for 3 years. So finally, it paid off. Like it's all about the hard work, man.
Nice.
But Summer Glau from Firefly, Serenity, Arrow will be there. I can also Casper Van Dien and Patrick Muldoon from Starship Troopers, Greg Grunberg, who is also in the new Star Wars, but he's also from Heroes and Alias. There's just it's just a huge magnitude of guests, and then we have a Sons of Anarchy reunion happening with a bunch of the cast from the Sons, and what else? I'll announce. Do you want to hear? Can I announce somebody that we haven't announced yet?
Oh, hey, that'd be great.
You want to get the exclusive?
Obsolete Game exclusive. Boom.
Let's do it.
Drop
All
it.
right. So Manu Bennett is coming.
Nice.
So so Manu's from Arrow and from Spartacus, but also we have other casts from Spartacus like Liam McIntyre. William Shatner's going to be at Comikaze, and so is Nichelle Nichols and Walter Koenig. Phil Lamar, James Hong, Amanda Stenberg from Hunger Games. I'm really stoked about her. That girl is an amazing actress and amazing social warrior. Like, she is a social activist. Like, I'm excited to see what this girl has for us in the future, and I'm really proud to have her because she's brilliant. But we have like the voice cast from Skeletor and She-Ra, and Wendy Shaw, who's Francine on American Dad, and the guy Yuri Lowenthal, who is Ben 10. It's so many from all across the board for anime, sci-fi, gaming, horror. Even Naomi Kyle from IGN is going to be there. Michelle Visage and Chad Michaels for RuPaul's Drag Race are coming. And then one of the things I'm really excited about, in 2011, we had the very first ever All That reunion. And I called the kids up again from All That, and I said, you guys want to do it again? We're bigger now. We have the stage, and let's do it right. And they said yes. And we're going to do the All That reunion again. And we have 10 cast members from the original All That. So all the original members except for Keenan, and then a bunch of the other casts from throughout the year. So like Kel Mitchell, Danny Tamborelli, Katrina Johnson, Lori Beth Denberg, Josh Server. So if you're a big Nickelodeon fan, that's the jam right there. We have it's a whole crazy, we even have the stars from 2001 Space Oddity. There's literally something for every generation and for every form of nerddom. And of course, Elvira, and the cool thing about Stan and Elvira being our partners and owning the show with us is it's probably the best place to see them is at Comikaze, because it's not like most shows, you go and like the celebrities are at a booth and you go and stand in line and you get it signed. For Stan and Elvira, though, we have museums. So Stan has the Stanley Mega Museum, and it's literally, you walk through the museum and Stan's at the end of the tunnel, but it's all his own, his memorabilia and his like the first typewriter he ever owned, what he wrote Spider-Man on back in the day. And, props from all the movies. There's Disney and Marvel are sending us over the Hall of Iron Man from Iron Man 2. That whole wall of all Iron Man. There's like a giant Hulk buster that's like 10 feet tall that someone gave Stan. Invitations from the president. And the same thing goes for Elvira. Elvira will also have in her museum a Hall of Iron Man. No, just joking.
I was gonna say. Maybe a different type of Iron Man.
We have like all kinds of Elvira memorabilia. For the pinball machine, she kind of builds an arcade too with all of her Elvira pinball machines. So it's just this really cool experience. And speaking of museums too, we have other museums on the show floor. Like a lot of the effects studios come in and build museums, like Phil Tippett Studios. He worked on Star Wars and Starship Troopers and Jurassic Park. He's putting in a bunch of the props that he has done for all the movies. The Hollywood Sci-Fi Museum, Divine Museum, Divine is a drag queen from John Waters movies, and so much more. And we have this prop making company called Vocademy. They're building we love our cosplayers so much, and we're always about embracing and lifting up the art of cosplay. And there's so much great cosplay that happens on our show floor, whether it's like huge, crazy, fancy, expensive outfits, or it's like you got some tinfoil and you made an Iron Man out of tinfoil. But we have so many people that cosplay. This company Vocademy built us these sets, these backdrop sets. So there's like a space set, so you can go in your cosplay and take pictures in front of these cool sets, and you look like you're in space. Or there is a TARDIS, and it's the police box, but you'll see TARDISes at conventions, but we have the only TARDIS that it opens up and it turns into a spaceship, and it's bigger on the inside.
Very cool.
Yeah, so just cool stuff. And then we have the Cosplay National Championships. The first ever Cosplay Nationals will be held at Stanley's Comikaze, and where cosplayers from around the world are going to be coming to compete for $10,000 in cash and the chance to take home the title and the very coveted Stanley Cup. So I don't know. Any sports fans out there will get that, what we did there. You can't really have... It's a Stanley Cup, like the Stanley Cup. So, it's a great show. We're really excited. And, tickets are on sale. You can buy them online or at the door, and come out and say hi. And, check our website, and you might want to pack a lunch because we got a lot of stuff going on.
Very cool. And, sadly, I'm all the way over here in Miami. I wish I could just like jet all over to LA so I could go. But I'm going to make sure that I'm going to go out to LA one of these days and get to hang out, because, that just sounds awesome. I only been to Comic-Con once, and that was cool. So I definitely got to make it out to Comic-Con.
You got to come out. It's a different experience. And like I said, we're all about the fans. And one of the things that we did this year, because we're on Halloween weekend. So for kids, we have over 600 exhibitors like Funko and Hot Topic and all these really big companies and all these other great mom and pops to the big ones on our show floor. But we ordered 2 tons of Halloween candy, and we have LA's largest and safest indoor trick-or-treat that will take place in the afternoon. So the kids, we give all the vendors all this candy, and it's good candy too. I ordered it. It's like there's Reese's and Snickers and everything that you can imagine. But you can go and trick or treat, and it's better than going on the street, because just if you do the math, 600 vendors, about 10 to 20 feet apart from each other, no driveways, you can do a lot of damage on the candy department, And if that still isn't enough candy for you, we close at 6 so you can go home and trick or treat on the street. But then for the adults, we rent out Los Angeles Convention Center's right next door to Club Nokia. And Club Nokia, we rented it out, and anybody with a Saturday badge or a 3-day badge gets in free to our very special after party. And we have it's the Halloween cosplay ball, and everyone comes in and dances and have fun. And we have 2 really great bands. We have Make Out Monday, which is the voice of Finn from Adventure Time's pop punk band. And then we have the Flux Capacitors, who are a Back to the Future 80s cover band. And then I'm going to say something. So you don't want to miss our party if you're listening. And again, it's free if you have a Saturday or a 3-day badge. But also, DMC from Run DMC is a guest at Comikaze.
Nice.
And I just mentioned, I'm not going to officially say or not, but I did just mention this party. And then I just randomly, right after, brought up DMC from Run DMC. So all I'm going to tell you is don't miss it, because it's going to be tricky, and it's going to be kind of something amazing will happen.
Huh? Yeah. Hey, look, if that isn't reason enough, if you are even just like a little bit thinking, come on, you got to go to this. Man, I'm looking online already now about booking a flight, seeing if I can do the math so I can go out this. Come on, Stanley's Comikaze, come on, you got to go now.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
It's going to be amazing. So, and then you know what? Why don't I give you guys, for anybody watching, if they use promo code Leia, like Princess Leia, they get 10% off on the convention on tickets. So there you go. There you go.
Look at that. Look, we're dropping exclusive news, discounts, candy, Run DMC. Well, DMC at least. Come on, man. Come on. Come on, man. You got to do it. Do it.
It's going to be awesome.
Oof. Man, well, you got to go out. Stanley's Comikaze. You got to go and see that. I'm going to try and do the math. I really want to go. So
you should go. You should go. And you can even get a hotel. They're cheap if you buy them through our website. There's good I'm sure you have fans out here. You could crash with a fan, or you can make it the ultimate meetup for you. Like, spend the night with me.
There we go.
Let me crash on your couch.
We get the Obsolete Gamer crew together. There we go. We get a suite. We're gonna be straight. We'll have another after party.
You should totally come out. Let me know. Shoot me an email, and I will get you tickets. I will personally give you tickets.
We're gonna rock this.
Let's do it. All right, man.
Regina, thanks for coming on and talking with us. It was awesome.
Thank you for having me, and I hope to see everybody at the show, and I hope to see you at the show. If you do come, please let me know. I'd love to meet you and shake your hand.